Well, hello, Mark. It looks like that we're back at it again on another, well, I guess you'd call it a summery day out there.
It is. It's not super hot, but it is a little bit warm, nice and summery. Not as hazy it has been, not as smoky as it has been, which is a good thing.
Yeah, those Canadian wildfires have been playing havoc with a lot of people that have asthma and respiratory problems. As we got the satellite up behind us here, and as we look at it, you can kind of see. I guess the smoke would be up in this area, right up in here. Uh,
Right.
let's see, there's Quebec. So yeah, it was up in there, and then Nova Scotia, I think, was having some of the wildfires. But it looks like our flow has changed, and so what has happened to us?
Well, there's a cold front that's moved a little bit farther south of us, and that's allowed our flow to move from the northeast more to the northwest, which is part of the reason it's a little bit cooler and also part of the reason we don't have as much smoke.
Yeah, and you can see the clouds as they moving down in this direction. But let's see. I think I'm going to look at the radar here real quick. The radar Omega. Give me just a second to call it up. And I want to go over here where we got some action. Ah, look at that. That isn't that nice. I haven't seen that on radar in a long time. I
Not over
am
in this part of the world.
I am ready for some rainfall, but that's looks like it's going to be well off to our west and it's going to move southeasterly. So we're not going to get much out of that, doesn't look like. And it's one of those things where we're in a dry pattern, and we sure need to break this dry pattern because they are hard to break. Once a dry pattern sets up, they're hard to break, and it makes me wonder if, well, what it takes to break it is basically some rain or storms getting in here and putting down some moisture. Once we get that moisture in the ground, and then the foliage starts picking it up, we have a process. If you want to hold the temperatures down, you have a process called evapotranspiration. And in effect, what that means is that the moisture is being evaporated through the foliage, and it helps to actually hold our temperatures down, keeps us from getting just overly hot. But our humidity is mighty low right now, so there's chances of wildfire out there. Until we get some appreciable rains, we're going to have to live with it. And I still think that we're going to get it. As we look over at we're going to look at the GFS model on tropical tidbits, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Let's see here if I can fix this up. There we go. Yeah. So what we're looking at, this is today's map, and we're going to play it. As we play it, you'll see that high pressure still lowers, but then you get into, let's see, we're looking at about the 12th. That's a little rain coming in, and we go on in here, and the 14th we get some more rain, and you know what? It looks like we're going to go into a little bit of a wet pattern, and that's what we want to do.
Absolutely.
Uh-oh, what we
Those
got? What we
system
got
after
coming
system.
up there?
Well, that's been in the GFS now for a couple of runs, at least 3 or 4 runs now. And that does show a tropical system coming up off the Yucatan Peninsula and heading over into Texas. And if that's the case, we might get some moisture from that too. But that's still pretty far out. That's way out in time, and we're kind of waiting to see if it'll show up or not.
Yeah, let me see what that time frame is. It looks like starting around the 18th. We'll start
At
seeing
the
it down
18th.
there. 19th, and then there's the 20th, 21st. Yeah, so June 21st or so, we should be seeing that if this model holds true to form. And GFS hasn't been too bad here lately.
Yeah,
It's
but again, that's pretty far out. I
it
don't know if
is.
anybody's biting on that yet or not.
I haven't heard any discussion on it, but it is something to just kind of hope and dream for because that's going to bring us an end to any dry weather. In fact, I was looking at some information earlier today, and it looked like, from what I was seeing among this discussion from some of the meteorologists, that June may actually end up wetter than normal. Now, that's hard to believe. I can tell you it looks like that maybe as we get into Sunday, they've slowed that cold front coming down in on us until about Sunday. We're originally going to say Saturday night, but it looks like we could get anywhere from an inch to an inch and a half, and locally 2 inches of rain. That would be just
That would
wonderful.
be greatly appreciated.
My garden will sure love it. I've got some plants out there that just saying, oh, water me, so uh, but I'm just going to wait for the rain to do it. Let Mother Nature take care of that because that's a long ways down there. So anyway, but your take on all this?
Again, this is an unusual pattern. The cooler times, this, as we get into June, now is when we're normally starting to go into the dry season of summer. So this is definitely a different pattern than what we're used to. And we'll have to see what holds with it. Right now, uh, not anybody seems to have the greatest handle on this. I've seen speculation of everything from a huge heat wave coming to an extreme cold down coming. Uh, Again, this is one of the things, the models aren't handling it real good because of all the different changes of the atmosphere we've had from all the volcanic activity, as well as, just the El Nino starting to kick in.
Yeah, well, I'm not quite buying the hot stuff. I saw one thing that said 100 and, well, let's just say the temperatures were in excess of 100 degrees. I said, I don't know about that. Mainly because that's counting on us getting an end or a break to this dry pattern we're in. If we can get that and get some moisture into the soil, it will hold the temperatures down a little bit. We'll see how that plays out, but I'm not quite buying into the real big heat wave yet either, because I've said all along it's going to be a little bit tamer than usual summer, and so far that's held true. I've said that for about a month or two now, and it looks like that's the way it's headed. So as we go on out, I think that it'll be something to see. I want to see if I can change something here without causing any major problem. I got Levi sitting there. Most of you know Levi Combs. He's been sitting here next to, you see his hand behind me. He's up here. He's taking Crystal's place as far as a fly swat to mash my fingers, and that doesn't seem to change anything. Go ahead, Levi, see what you can get with.
What exactly you want?
Let's go with accumulated precipitation, total accumulated. Okay, so as we look at this is from roughly June 8th through let's see, let's go back just a little bit.
This is current, so do you just want to play it out?
Yeah, let's play it out. This is a total precipitation accumulation of what you're going to get. It's a model rendition of it, and you can see finally we start getting some rain in there, and around the 13th, it looks like it's going to really start coming in. The 14th, 15th, down in Tennessee, looking well above normal. Again, in the 16th, 17th, and then there's that moisture package coming up out of the Gulf. If you look at that, you can see some pretty appreciable rains with that. So that's around the 22nd, so the timing is a little bit different than the other one, but if that plays out, then we could get a really good soaking rain out of all that, and I hope that's the case. That would make me feel a whole lot better. I know it will you guys too. We don't want to get into a drought situation like we were last year. So far, we're not in a drought, but we are in an abnormally dry season. So if we can get this broke, we will have some hopefully good crops and plenty of food on the tables as we go through the time. Let's go back to the just plain old radar Omega here, and I want to talk to you about a couple of other things. I think I want to look at some of these cameras. I've always enjoyed looking at these weather cameras. They show some pretty neat stuff sometime. And here's one that doesn't have the live cam. And so, Levi, that's the one I was wanting to tell you about. There it is. And but we'll talk about 88 degrees out there in Missouri. So it's not overly hot, but it's pretty warm. Let's see what this one is. Here we go. That's Boycon, Missouri. And so as I call that up, pretty decent shot, but look at the clouds there. That looks like it's got
lots of clouds, but you also notice there's not a lot of haze and not a lot of smoke or anything, so it didn't push over that far.
I didn't notice that, but you're correct. So yeah. So I hope we see clouds like that soon in our area. And I just wanted to look at some of these things, see what they look like. But excuse me, I'm going to have to cough here, everybody. I've got these allergies. Okay. Now, let me see if I can find a bottle of water. Take it away for a minute, Mark.
All right. Well, you can see that big area of storms and precipitation way over in Arkansas. That's not going to come our way, but it did show up quite well from the model run earlier we were looking at. So the models are starting to pick up stuff and steer them correctly. Over our area, if we were looking at it and we were looking at the live cams, it's pretty well sunny. There is some haze and smoke still around, but it's not nearly as thick as it has been over the past couple of days.
That's right, and it looks like that. Like I said, I'm looking back at this cloud cover. Some of that clouds may get into western Kentucky. It looks like they are just the probably the northeastern edge of it's going to come across western Kentucky, and that may help hold temperatures down a little bit. But don't see much in the way of precip going to come with it until maybe Sunday. So Sunday's going to be the day. We could get an inch to an inch and a half, and locally 2 inches of rain. That's something we really need, desperately need. But we'll see how it plays out. Now I do say that next Monday's going to be right cool, with highs maybe in the upper 70s. But then as we start into the week, it looks like it's going to be a warming trend. Get back into the upper 80s on Wednesday, and then I think we'll get another chance for showers and storms, and we may get another little cool down. Because you got to remember, there's a cutoff low out to the west. It's got to come east sooner or later, and that will help hopefully bring us some more cooler temperatures as we get on into the month of June. And you know what? One other thing I want to say, June 21st is a magic day. What is that, Mark?
First day of summer.
That's the longest day of the year, and after that point, the days start getting shorter. So, if you're not a summer fan, just hang in there for a while. It's gonna change. So with that, why don't we say goodbye?
All right. Want everybody to have a great time. Have a great weekend coming up. Try to enjoy it as much as you can. Watch out for that rain coming in on Sunday. And y'all be safe. And we'll see you next time.
Adios, amigos.